Nick Wilde and Pawbert Linksley are two characters in the Zootopia franchise who start from similar kinds of pain but end up making very different choices, which leads one toward good and the other toward evil. So in this video, we'll look closely at how both of their stories begin with suffering, but how what they decide to do with that suffering takes them down completely different paths. Nick grows up with very little. He comes from a poor family and is raised by his mother alone. The film never explains what happened to his father, and he is simply not part of Nick's life or story. As a child, Nick has a clear dream. He wants to join the Junior Ranger Scouts so he can belong to a group and feel accepted. His mother works hard and saves enough money to buy him the uniform, making that dream feel possible for him, even though they do not have much. When Nick finally joins the Scouts, he is the only predator in the group, and he goes in expecting friendship and teamwork. Instead, something awful happens. The other kids turn on him purely because he is a fox. They treat him like a dangerous animal, pin him down, and even force a muzzle onto his face, as if he were a savage monster that needs to be restrained. That moment is extremely traumatic for him and becomes the turning point of his childhood. This experience leaves deep scars on how Nick sees other people in the world around him. From that day on, he learns that no matter how kind or hopeful he is, many others will only see him as a sly and trustworthy fox. Zootopia already has strong stereotypes about predators, and Nick ends up internalizing them. Instead of continuing to fight against those labels, he decides it is easier to become exactly what everyone expects him to be. Nick became a hustler and a small-time con artist from a very young age, using his cleverness to survive, but he does not go out of his way to seriously harm anyone or commit truly monstrous acts, which shows that deep down he was never genuinely evil.
I make $200 a day, Fluff. 365 days a year since I was 12.
Pawbert's story, on the surface, is almost the opposite of Nick's, but the emotional core is still about pain and rejection. Unlike Nick, Pawbert does not grow up poor. He is born into the extremely wealthy and powerful Linksley family. His family's fortune is tied to the Weatherwalls, and they are celebrated as founders of Zootopia, even though that legacy is built on something terrible their ancestor did in the past, taking credit for someone else's work. Pawbert has two older siblings, and he is the youngest in the family. His father, Milton, treats him very badly and barely seems to care about him at all. Milton is cold and dismissive, and Pawbert is seen as a joke within his own household, someone who is not taken seriously and is constantly looked down on.
You're supposed to be off stage, Pawbert.
Yeah, get off stage, Pawbert.
I am a Linksley. Or, I'm trying to be.
Now, Pawbert!
His mother is not present in his life. The story never clearly explains whether she has died or simply left, but either way, her absence adds another layer of loneliness for him. Because of this, Pawbert feels like he does not truly belong in his own family, even though he has money, status, and comfort on the outside. He does not face the kind of class-based struggle Nick does, and he is not targeted by society at large for being poor or a certain species. Instead, his main source of suffering comes from inside his home, his father's neglect, his siblings' disrespect, and the way no one around him recognizes his worth or treats him like a real Linksley. That emotional rejection is heartbreaking, but Nick's past stands out as more intense, because Nick faces both personal trauma and broad social prejudice from a very young age, while Pawbert's pain is mainly tied to his family and their broken relationships. Now let's look at how Nick and Pawbert handled the pain from their tough childhoods, because that's where their paths really split apart. Nick kept up his hustling life for years, teaming up with his close partner and friend Finnick, who he met during those survival schemes and who stuck by him through thick and thin. Like I mentioned before, Nick never crossed into anything truly cruel or harmful. He stayed on the edges, using his smarts to get by without causing real damage to others. That all shifted the moment he crossed paths with Judy Hopps, a brand new cop who faced her own doubts just for being a small rabbit in a job full of doubters. At first, Nick didn't take her seriously either, brushing her off with his sharp wit.
All right, look. Everyone comes to Zootopia thinking they can be anything they want. Well, you can't. You can only be what you are. Sly Fox, Dumb Bunny.
He leaned on sarcasm and jokes as a shield for his deep insecurities, a habit built from years of feeling like an outsider that no one would ever fully trust. But Judy had a way of seeing past all that surface stuff, right to the good heart underneath. He got pulled in reluctantly at the start, roped into helping her solve the missing mammals case, but as they spent more time together solving clues and facing dangers side by side, something changed inside him. For Nick, who had gone his whole life without anyone truly believing in his potential, Judy's faith hit different. It made him start caring about her on a personal level.
Look, you gave her a clown vest and a three-wheeled joke-mobile in 2 days to solve a case you guys haven't cracked in 2 weeks? Yeah, it's no wonder she needed to get help from a fox. None of you guys were gonna help her, were you?
What kicked off as him feeling stuck with her turned into a partnership he genuinely wanted to see through, because she challenged the old story everyone told about him, including the one he had told himself. He was just playing the role of the sly fox to fit in, but Judy showed him he could step out of that shadow and aim higher, proving once again that he was never rotten at his core.
All right, get in here. Okay, oh, you bunnies. You're so emotional. There we go, deep breath.
That's why when she gave him the opportunity, Nick embraced it. He applied to the police academy, worked hard to qualify, and ended up right there beside her as a cop. He picked a path of doing good, letting go of the bitterness that could have swallowed him whole, and that choice highlights what makes his growth so powerful and inspiring. Pawbert had every opportunity to break free from his family's shadow and turn into someone far better than any of them. He was ignored by his father, overlooked at home, and he even knew deep down that his family was hiding a dark, terrible secret about their past. Instead of walking away from that toxicity and building a life on his own terms, he leaned right into it, turning to manipulation and lies as his main tools to grab power and get whatever he wanted. His personality pulls people in because he comes across as genuinely charming and relatable, which is part of why so many people end up feeling sympathy for him at first glance. It's easy to root for the underdog in his own home who seems clumsy and harmless on the surface. But there's a big gap between liking a character and excusing what they actually do, and Pawbert's actions make it clear he's not the nice guy he pretends to be. He hides behind that friendly, bumbling mask to trick the people closest to him, like Judy and Gary, who let him into their circle as a trusted friend. Pawbert plays along, acting loyal and supportive, all while biding his time for the perfect moment to turn on them and use their trust against them for his own gain.
Oh my gosh. My heart is pounding. Oh, I thought you knew. Sorry, partner. Hate to leave you out in the cold, but I'm gonna. Please don't be mad at me. But, I mean, you get it. We've always been on the same page. Me and you, underdogs, right? You gotta prove you're as good as everyone else, that you belong.
He doesn't aim to do good or fix anything. He wants to become just like his family, even if that means crossing lines into truly awful territory, such as killing innocent people or causing massive harm without a second thought, simply because it would finally make him feel like he belongs with them. He nearly killed Judy, tried to kill Gary, almost killed Nibbles, and even targeted Nick to take him out too. On top of that, he was ready to burn the original patent, the one document that could have set things right for the reptiles marginalized from Zootopia because of his family's wrongdoing long ago. By destroying it, he aimed to keep that truth buried forever, ensuring his family held onto their power while others kept suffering unjustly, all driven by his desperate need for acceptance in a home that never valued him.
When I get to his great-grandma's home, and I burn the original patent, I'll finally be something in my family, and I'll finally belong, too.
This contrast with Nick really stands out here. Nick faced an even more brutal past full of prejudice and pain, yet he chose to rise above it and do good when Judy gave him a real shot at change.
If the world's only gonna see a fox as shifty and untrustworthy, there's no point in trying to be anything else.
Nick, you are so much more than that.
Pawbert had his own painful upbringing and got the exact same kind of offer from Judy, a chance to be better, to step away from his family's evil ways and start fresh, but he turned it down flat.
Pubert, please. You can't be different than your family.
I don't want to be different.
Nick grew to truly care about Judy, wanting to protect her and stand by her side no matter what, while Pawbert was willing to murder her despite all the trust she had placed in him.
Where is she?
She didn't make it. But with snake bites, you go fast.
In the end, both had rough starts that could have broken them, but Nick became the good guy who healed and helped others, whereas Pawbert stayed the bad guy, betraying everyone around him just to cling to a legacy of wrong.